Well, hi. This is a good moment for me. Just come back from the workshop and took everything off the rack that's been in there. So this is the day 30. So that's the month of these guys hanging up and curing and doing their thing. And happily to say, I've had no mortality rates. So there's nothing gone bad, which is great because the weather we've been having in the UK has been terrible water-wise, and the humidity must have been 95-100% most of the time. So I'm really surprised these aren't just covered in horrible moulds. So the only moulds we do have is the specks of white, is what we would have expected on the salami, or my version of salami. The chorizo, one or two tiny specks because they were adjacent to each other, so it would have jumped over, but not predominantly, as you'd expect with chorizo. Different ingredients, and it certainly has a very different attitude towards the different moulds. I think the paprika in there is a sort of a cure-all against most things. So yeah, they both behaved exactly like I would have hoped, which is great. And the flavour, oh my goodness, that was a surprise. I really only expected an acceptable result. That's what I wished for. Because these recipes I've tweaked and made my own. I've been using a celery seed powder and things. I thought that would dramatically affect the flavour. Well, if anything, it's it's easy for me to say, but well, it's not that easy for me to say actually, because it's a bit embarrassing. But that chorizo is nicer than any chorizo I've had before. So that must be my biased little thing going on there. But it really is, that recipe, if you follow it, you will not be disappointed. And the salami with the chanterelles, that is something else. Again, I only expected a reasonable result with that because I've sort of half invented it. Beautiful flavour, really subtle. Nice bit of heat there from the pepper. The wine hit. The mushroom is so perfect in this. I can't see how I can describe it. The skins, they're using the hog casings. Important thing to note here, that you do not have to peel them off. Excuse me. Whoa. You do not have to peel them off to eat them. They just melt and disappear. If you used a synthetic casing, or maybe something a bit fatter like a beef middle or something, I think it would be just too heavy and you would probably incline to pull the skin off. But with these hog casings, absolutely not. You just devour it with the salami, which is so nice. It's nothing worse than having to peel skin off something. It's like, this seems wrong. And I've eaten some really nice chorizo in Spain over the years, and all the best ones I've ever eaten, I must say, you could eat straight through. So I'm glad I'll be able to follow in those shoes. Not much else to add here now, except I've got a lot of meat. So what I'm going to do, if I kept these hanging in the workshop, they would eventually dry out and turn into Tutankhamun's fingers. So I think the thing to do here now is to vacuum seal them and hand them out to friends and family, I think. So I'm going to, as soon as I vacuum seal them, any of these moulds are just going to go into stasis because these moulds are aerobic, so they like air. And once I seal the air out of there, they'll just calm down, die maybe, and just not carry on. I don't want them to dry out any more than this. This, to me, this texture is perfect for putting on your bread or your cheese, or just having it straight like I like it. Any drier and it would still be absolutely amazing, but this is spot on right now. I did, as you can see, that was a loop, and that's how much I've had. It just is so addictive. And sorry about the light, we've got a dead light happening there. The chorizo, I could have eaten it long before. I actually think because of the size I've made these, and the diameter is, what, 3 centimetres, something like that. If it would have been any bigger, the 30-day mark would have been spot on, but I think I could have eaten this raw or cured a week or so ago easily. It was done. I could tell it was done. You could feel by the texture. And if I can show you that, it's still got that nice squeeze. And if I can, I don't know if you can see this, put it in the focus zone. The granulation that I was talking about when I was doing the mincing, the nice big lumps, it's got that lovely sort of marbling, what do you call it, marbling? I don't know, like terrazzo. All the bits, which I desire in a chorizo, and I think that's pretty traditional. So that's worked, and that lovely deep colour, which if you get the Iberico meated, this is British pork from the supermarket, but it looks a bit Iberico-like because of the darkness of it. So that's quite cool. So all in all, that's great. So I'm going to backpack these, as I say, stick them in the fridge, not in the freezer, because I don't think salami freezes that well. It gets in the back bags, it probably survive better, but it does tend to not like being frozen. But just in the fridge, even in just put it in the cupboard, as soon as you take that air out of there, it's going to last for months and months and months. So this should see us a while, or maybe not that long, by the time I've given loads of it away. But great result. So I can wholeheartedly say to you all that the recipes work really, really well. And if you follow them as I did, this should be your result. And as I said, the humidity in the workshop was ridiculous, yet it still turned out well. I think those celery salts are the bomb. Salts, seeds. If you haven't got one of these vacuum sealers, I really recommend it. And you don't have to spend a fortune either. This was 70 quid, I think. It was half price on Amazon, but this is a really good unit. Kitchener brand. I'm not endorsed by these guys. My money bought this. Took a risk. Superb. Actually, I might just turn that round. And you might be able to see a bit more what's going on. Can you see that? Yeah, let's do it that way around. What was I thinking? So in there, you've got the heating element, then you've got the vacuum chamber. You just put that there like that, so the opening's there. Crack it down, press the button. And it sucks the bejesus out of it. There it is. If I carry on and not delay, the cycle time is much quicker because it has to heat that element up each time. But that's a proper job. I mean, that is absolutely rock. Great thing. Yeah, a little bit more about this. This guy also has a thing on the side which you can pull out, which is for putting in canisters, vacuum canisters. But all in all, this thing does a really good job. Then the specifications say it's 28 Hg, which is inches of mercury. So 28 inches of mercury is commercial grade. 29.9, I think, if memory serves, is an absolute vacuum, like outer space. So 28 inches of mercury in a little unit this size is very impressive. All the instructions are in well-written English. Fortunately, not that you really need it, it's quite straightforward. Just remember, it says on here as well, when you're storing the thing, don't click it all the way down, because that engages the seal proper, and you can imagine if you've got it stored for 3 months, your seal's going to be squashed, so just always have it like that. There you go.